Ladies and gentlemen, everyone around and in between, this is Innovating Instruction, where we are basically journaling the creation of a college level course. Specifically, this course is the new media course that I wrote for my college. And I figured that because new media, it's so difficult to find a good textbook for the course that really outlines the entire semester. I thought I would um, basically generate it using new media, specifically AI, and having uh, the results documented on a Google Doc and things like that. This week, I'm actually coming to you from San Diego. I'm in my hotel room for the AI Revolution in Education conference down here. There's been an amazing number of different vendors with tools that they are bringing out that are absolutely astounding. But some of the more poignant panels that I went and watched were ones that talked about equity and gave me a good perspective on the challenges that come with providing equity for specifically within the realm of AI, but for new media tools in general. Remember, AI is one facet of new media, probably the most contemporary and exciting facet of in people's minds these days. But new media, it means so much more than that. Anything that is digital, online, and interactive or social is considered new media, and AI is just supercharging it. It is just throwing some gasoline on that fire that was already burning really hot. So I think that the discussion of equity is a incredibly important one, and we're going to be tackling that one right now. So let's do a little review about how this works. It's been a little while. You can see my hair has grown a little bit since the last episode. I've been taking some time in between, but I think I'm going to be finishing out this series fairly regularly throughout the remainder of the semester. So I have it ready to go for the fall semester. So, um, what I do here is basically I open up ChatGPT. I ask it to help me come up with ideas for lecture material, assignments, quiz questions, things like that. I take the results and I put them on a Google Doc. So it's basically me just brainstorming my way through a college course. I already have done, you know, a decent amount of research and getting familiar with it, but I'm leaving that out of it right now just to see how you could use these tools to make any college course, but specifically for a new media course. Okay. So let's take a look at where we are right now with that. We could do this. Perfect. Okay, I think I'm going to, maybe I can enlarge this a little bit to make it easier to read. Okay, so so a long time ago, I created an overview for everything week by week, right? And I've modified it every a little bit, but you can see over here, I'm blocking a little bit of the table of contents, but over to the left, am building out the each week as well. So I have the overview, which I'm using to kind of tether my prompts and to have everything filter through that. But I go through and then each one of these episodes, I detail out what I am thinking about possibly doing for those particular class meetings. So you can see for week one, I have class one and class two because we in college courses. Wait, where's my class two? Class two. In college courses, we usually meet twice a week for roughly a hour and a half each time for 85, 90 minutes. And so I'm building it out that way. And so you can see for each week I'm doing it. So I'm operating based off of the assumption that this is going to be a fairly standard 16-week course and that there are 2 meetings per week, and then I build those out. So if I go up to the overview, we've gotten to the point of or to the professional level. Well, the first half, the first 8 weeks, is really focusing on personal and interpersonal issues. So relationships with people, romantic relationships, platonic relationships, family relationships, relationships with the self, and how new media has affected all that. And now we're moving on to the professional level. So this would include, business and marketing, entertainment. We talked about video games in the last episode, but right now, here we are, week 12. We're talking about new media and education and equity, access, and the digital divide. Now, like I said, I've been getting a new perspective on this, and I'm even thinking about, maybe this needs to be earlier in the semester. I do like how I deal with relationships first and then professional stuff later. Maybe this is uh, the first lesson in the professional realm. So week 9 maybe is more about education, equity, digital divide. I'm still toying with that idea, but let's go into it and let's generate this. Okay, first I need to find my original. Okay, here we are. So we are on, and this is when I was using 3.5, so I can't change it. But I have this really, really long um, thread with ChatGPT where I'm creating these things. You can even see that I already generated the description that I'm using for this uh, in the YouTube description. I generated for this one as well. Okay, now it's time for us to we're going to generate a lesson plan for is it week 10? So I'm going to keep it simple. Generate a lesson plan for week 10 of instruction. Like I said, it's been a little while since I've done this, so I'm forgetting some of the more detailed prompts that I use for this as well. But the fact that it's still part of the same chat makes it so it likely will revert back to some of the previous prompts I used, and is getting to know what I'm looking for, and putting it in there. See, like for instance, it has assignments. Let's get down to the assignments at the end, but let's take a look here. Class 19, new media and business. No, no, no. Am I at the wrong week? Week 12. Nope. Oh, because I'm on episode 10. I got those two mixed up. So now I have to, here we go. Here we are, equity, access, and digital divide. Examine the disparities in access to new media and address equity and inclusivity concerns in the digital landscape. So understanding the digital divide, always a good place to start when you have a term that most people should already know, but they don't necessarily know it. And so understanding what the term means, usually when you introduce a new concept to people, is a very logical place to start. Um, Defining the digital divide, dimensions of the digital divide. Okay, explore different dimensions, including access to hardware, infrastructure, and internet connectivity. Present statistical data. So there's a lot of talk about access. When I was going to these panels, there was a discussion about use disparities, and so that interested me a lot. So a lot of times, I don't know, just in conversations that I have with people that don't quite buy into things like disparities and equity, and you probably know some of them in your life, they talk about how everyone has a cell phone, all these devices are everywhere, everything's on the internet. You get Wi-Fi if you go to Starbucks. So there's a lot of answers that people have that aren't particularly convincing to me, but clearly are convincing to them. And a lot of those fall in line with the access. It's like, well, they have access to it. And I think that having a analysis of use disparity is something that I'm very interested in and would like to know more. And I have not had the opportunity to look into that more. I think that also opens up the opportunity for a richer data set, because having access to something is like, is like potential energy, and we want to look at like actual energy used in something. Okay, the impact of the digital divide, discuss consequences. Uh, okay, I'm not liking the vagueness of these points here. And so I want to have a little bit more detail in them. And I think that's one of the prompts I'm going to use for the revision. Strategies for bridging the digital divide, introduce initiatives, programs aimed at bridging. See, look, it just says introduce them. And it's like, okay, well, I know that you're not connected to the internet right now, but I'd at least like to know what sort of programs might have been introduced 2 years ago when the data set was put into Jet GPT. And so I'm gonna scour that. And so the extra work that you need to do when you are creating a course like this, the extra work is finding the most contemporary programs and initiatives possible for that. And that's why going to things like conferences like the one I'm at right now is so important. Okay. So that's meeting one. Wait, is that the entire meeting one? I want to take a look at we have new media and education, equity, access, and digital divide. Huh. Okay. Oh, and these things are out of order. I'm going to, wait, is that right? 2, 23. Make sure those are numbered right. 18, 19. 14, 13, intimate sexuality. So I have one for the intimate. No, I have 1.5. Okay. Oh, but that's because there is a midterm. All right. That's why we're on odd numbers now. Class 5 to 6. Okay. Okay. Just making sure everything was numbered correctly. Because now we're going to have to switch that up. Okay. Look at that. Way off now. 6. Okay, I'll come back to that one a little bit later. But online learning platforms, education resources, virtual remote education. So understanding the digital divide. So I'm thinking the equity, access, and digital divide looks like the first one, right? This is everything that they're talking about in that first one, and it makes more sense, right? Okay. Oh, so what I'm concerned about is the fact that I'm kind of squeezing what it looks like, and I didn't realize this until now, is that it's squeezing equity and digital divide into a single day, and then new media and education is on its own day. And uh, I'm not, yeah, I'm not digging that all that much. Misinformation, deception, and trust. Education is really important when it comes to new media, legal and ethical, personal data. So personal data, politics, future trends. So we do have, oh my goodness, there's just so much to talk about with new media. Like, how do you deal with it all? I'm starting to think that maybe equity, access, and digital divide might come in the first half of the semester. Introducing new media, principles of communication, nonverbal, and then social networks, social media, online, personal. Maybe it would be better to have, because it's like this is a little bit more personal in the first half, and it's a little bit more social in the second half. Interviewing online collaboration and harassment. I mean, we did talk about sexuality, cyberstalking, and consent in week 8. Online collaboration and harassment in digital areas. So I'm starting to think that maybe like, so in interpersonal communication, there are sections on like dark side communication. And so I'm wondering maybe if digital divide and harassment could be sort of like the dark side of new media, the disadvantages to it, the drawbacks to it, um, and getting to interviewing professional networking. Yeah, building professional networks online, business marketing. Because look at that, the um, so on teamwork and harassment. I don't know. I kind of like. I understand why they're going together, but I'm thinking might want to switch that around. Equity, access, digital divide, new media and education, online learning platforms. Okay, okay, man, I'm having a little bit of trouble kind of really fitting this into it. Because I'm thinking, yeah, entertainment and video games, maybe that's 1 week right there. Um, interviewing professional networking, maybe that's another one. You know what I'm gonna do? I think I'm gonna generate a full week's long lesson on new media and education, and I'm gonna do this equity, access, and digital divide. And I think I need to spend a little bit of time, maybe not on a live stream, actually trying this out. I'm going to so let's just generate this stuff because then I can I can kind of mix things around and update it that way. Okay, welcome students. Overview of the session, defining the digital divide. Um, okay, so it only did the equity, access, and digital divide. So I'm going to do education as well. But first, I want to get a little bit more detail into this one because the first one is just introducing the concept and promoting digital equity is meeting two. Nice. I like the idea of equity and huh, promoting equity, inclusion, barriers to access, identify common barriers like infrastructure limitation, lack of digital skills, cultural barriers, um, community engagement, digital inclusion best practices. I love that term, digital inclusion best practices for promoting digital inclusion and accessibility in various settings, including education and healthcare. See, look at that. That seems to be a very overview. Like it's a great introduction to the second half of the semester. I think it's a better introduction than what I have going because like, hey, this is going to apply to everything we're going to talk about for the remainder of the semester. um, so it makes me feel even more so that we're doing that. Facilitated instruction, conclusion, assignments, digital divide research paper. We can, yeah, that makes sense. Community engagement project is very awesome. Develop a proposal for community engagement. Okay. Revise with more detailed and specific examples and illustrations I can use in class. Include a just a reading list. So even though that the publications that they're going to suggest on ChatGPT are one might not be real, and two, even if they are, they'll be a few years old. At least it'll give me a starting point. I could start looking up who quotes these reading materials in contemporary works in order to do that. Okay, so digital divide 2.0 generating. That's not bad. Interactive discussion planning. Okay, let's see. Go to the top here. Okay, boom. Introduction. Discuss the importance of equity. Provide examples of how technology, internet, dividing lines, a digital divide. Let's see. Let's see if this is real. It might. Maybe not. Dividing lines. Oh, no. Yeah, see, it does not look real. Jan van Dijk. Almost sounds like a troll. Let's put some. No, 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 no. We're going to. I'm going to just do all the quote. Do that. Check it out. So remember that ChatGPT still hallucinates a little bit. Yeah, textbooks. So it looks like Jan van Dijk does do writing on the digital divide, but not necessarily that particular title. But he does have a textbook about the digital divide. It's just called The Digital Divide, and I want to see how old this is right now. Where's the freaking publication? Oh, 2020. And, it's not bad. Free internet for the problem, the digital divide, the disparity between those with access. I might need to buy this just to get the knowledge base from it, not necessarily it's as a textbook for the course, because it seems to be focused too much on that one aspect of what would be a survey course, is going over so many different things. What is motivation, attitude, physical access? See, the physical access, 21st century skill usage in our yeah, I need to get this one book. Okay, looks good. Looks good. So notice that the in the reading list that it generates, that some part of it is fake, but part of it can lead you to something. So looking up authors, I've actually found is more beneficial, because it kind of points you to their entire body of work, and usually their body of work is relevant to the topic that you're looking up. The titles themselves, not always. Okay, so illustrate how disparities, but it's not giving me hardware, internet connectivities. Is still giving me general stuff, and then it just adds a sort of a reading element to it. But it's helpful. It is very helpful, and I think I'm going to use this one. Impact who have been adversely affected. Okay, strategies for bridging community engagement and collaboration. Wait, Jan van Dijk and then Julie van Dijk. Okay. Okay. I'm skeptical of that one. Designing inclusive systems. Okay. So this one is definitely, has a lot more information that we can use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this professional history of video games. Boom, boom, boom. We're going to go down to the bottom here. So I got 77 pages. If anybody wants a copy of these 77 pages, you are more than welcome to contact me in the comments. Let me know. We'll totally do it. Okay, so here we go. Boom. We're going to just give this a title. Class 21. It's going to, we're going to make that, I think, heading 2. Yeah. Class 21. See, look, it has class 21, then meeting 1 and meeting 2. Promoting digital equity. So that one has good week 12. So now let's so what week are we in with? So let's just do that. Week 12 also has new media and education. Oh, I think it's redoing the whole thing. So meeting 1 is the digital divide, and then meeting 2 is promoting oh, wait. Is it just going to assume that we have a bunch of meetings? No, it did not. Okay. So I'm going to kind of force ChatGPT to do what I want. Um, so I want it to explore the impact of new media on education. Uh, all right, so I'm just going to write over the last one because it just failed ultimately to generate anything new for that. Okay. New media's impact, discussing increasing integration of technology in educational settings, provide a brief history of technology. I'm not going to talk about the freaking printing press. Um, okay. Distance learning, correspondence courses, evolution. That one's okay. Online learning platforms. There we go. Coursera, Udemy, and Khan Academy. Um, successful online course degree programs, virtual classrooms, remote. This one's getting in there a little bit better. So I could always go back and ask for more specific examples. It's like, discuss examples. It's like, okay, give me some specific examples. But I think this one is at least good enough for me to work off of. And so I'm going to put that one in there as well. Because, like I said, I think I have to reorganize what I'm going to do for this. And so, yeah, let's just put this as heading 2. There you go. And that should be, yeah, I'll have to switch up the numbering on this one. 22 and 23. But I think it's a really high likelihood that I'm moving um, the equity stuff earlier, maybe putting that in its own sort of dark side week right after the midterm, so you're not hitting people with something too heavy right before the midterm. Um, and then you can kind of bring them out of that funk that you're going to put them in necessarily. So if you're just joining me, what I'm doing is I'm creating a course for new media at the college level in my at my college, and I'm using ChatGPT to do that. Now, I've had several episodes that you should check out beforehand about how I did that, but right now I'm on week 12 of 16, and I am going through things like um, uh, the digital divide, equity, inclusion, and issues like that. But I originally had the new media and higher education, or just education in general, as a part of that, and how education is being revolutionized by technology and new media. And I had them in the same week, but I think that they deserve separate weeks for it. And so I'm really trying to figure out the best way to do that. Um, yeah. Okie dokie. Otherwise, I think that I have a pretty good start to this, right? So new media and education has a number of different things. So learning platforms, classrooms, remote education, uh, new media technologies. Yeah. So why don't we do that? So why don't we go through and get some examples of, like, let's take a look at, um, you know what? Generate a section on LMS's learning management systems, because it's not really talking about it, and that's where people, the crucial implementation of new media education. These platforms serve as a central hub for organizing, delivering, managing educational content. Um, maybe, maybe, might as well. So I copied that. I put that into. I'm going to put that just at the bottom here. And then as I go through a second time, because this is just the generation, the brainstorming section that we're going through and putting it all together on a single document, in order to figure things out. So I have a lot of, if anybody has any suggestions about what to include in a, um, a, a new media course specifically about equity and the digital divide, please let me know. You could just post it up in the comments. If you got, if you want, if you would want to see, think about new media and education as a single topic for the week. If there was something that you wanted, or if you were taking a class like this and you expected it to be in the class, let me know. I would love to hear your suggestions. If you have any literature that I can read that you can suggest, even especially textbooks, because this whole thing started off with me f- not being able to really find a good textbook for my new media course, and feeling like I had to generate things from the ground up, was the whole motivation behind doing this series, as well as organizing the class the way that I have. If you want any of the materials that I've created, you can always ask and let me know. I'm happy to share them. I really want this to be a collaborative effort in the vein of new media, because new media is supposed to be social, it's supposed to be shared between people, and it's online. And so the live streaming, podcasting that I'm doing right now is in that vein. And I'm hoping to, to some degree, crowdsource a little bit of a few ideas on how to make this course something that I'm proud of, but also something that is valuable to students and offers them information and knowledge about the world that they live in, so they can use these skills for things around them in their everyday lives. Um, anyways, the oh, I forgot to do my outro. So, but regardless, we'll be back in the future talking about how to create college courses, and specifically a new media course. Please join me in the future, and remember that I welcome all suggestions. Thanks.